Phronesis. Practical Wisdom with Scott Allen.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this beautiful world. My name is Scott Allen, and I am the host of Phronesis, Practical Wisdom for Leaders. I am an associate professor of management at John Carroll University in Cleveland, Ohio, USA. I'm an author, an entrepreneur, a speaker, a nonprofit founder, and the host of 2 podcasts. I'm also a husband and dad of 3. You just heard from Kate, my daughter, who wrote and performed the Phronesis intro. Phronesis offers a smart, fast-paced discussion on all things leadership. My guests are scholars and practitioners, and we cover timely, relevant topics and incorporate practical tips designed to help you make a difference in how you lead and live. Now, I am proud to share that Phronesis is the official podcast of the International Leadership Association, an association that is near and dear to my heart. ILA brings together leaders and those who teach, study, and develop leadership, advancing leadership knowledge and practice for a better world. Learn more at ilaglobalnetwork.org. If you like what we're up to, please click subscribe so you can stay up to date as we release new episodes each week. You can also share what we're up to with others. And now, today's show. Everybody, welcome to the podcast. Today I have a longtime friend, and I'm really excited for this conversation. He's many things. He is the curator of TEDxPortland, has been since 2009. If I'm not mistaken, the founder, he'll correct me, or a co-founder. He'll correct me in a moment if I was wrong on that one. And he is also the president and co-founder of 503 Media and Events. If you listen to that word events, you would know quickly that David's year has been a shift. It's been a leadership challenge, probably like none that he's experienced. And that's really what we're going to talk about today, is how an individual leading a media and events company and TEDxPortland shifted in the last 15, 16 months. So he is an avid lover of baseball. He is a family man. He is an all-around, probably I think the coolest guy I know. But why don't you fill in the blanks? Tell us a little bit more about you, sir.
Don't forget about Canada. I got roots up north. Love America. Have been stateside for 20 years. But maple syrup's in the DNA, and that's where I get the quirky cool from. If there is any sort of cool, it's Canada. And when I'm in trouble, you blame Canada too. Right?
So Dave Ray, tell us about you, sir.
Yeah, I'm a creative at heart. I love art and I love experience and I love storytelling. And a drug for me is creating experiences, indelible moments for people to enjoy, for people to collect moments and not things.
Love
and
it.
so just I've always had a passion of putting people in a room and creating an arena or a vessel where people can connect and truly get to the core of meaningful relationships. That's the juice for me.
I love that. And you just described yourself so well, Dave, because how you just described yourself, that's how I think of you. Since I've known you, I think we met maybe, what was it, like 2099, something like that?
Yep.
That has been you gathering people, getting them excited, having a great experience and creating memories, right? And it's like you said, a drug for you, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's addictive. I was raised in a family where community and being a great neighbor and it was just how we were raised. And I've carried that through my life and it's really what gets me out of bed in the morning, truly.
Well, Dave, we'll get to TEDxPortland in a little bit, but I want you to talk about just leading 503 in the last year. Take me back to March 2020.
Yep.
I imagine you had an epic summer lined up of events and gatherings and all of that. And all of a sudden, March 2020 hits and we're shut down. Talk to me and take me through your year, how you shifted, how you led the organization through the transition, and what it looks like in the future.
Yeah, certainly. A bit of context. So I was at Nike for a while, had a great experience there, but left on my own terms to start my own agency to focus on events. And we were positioned. So 503 has been around for 6 years, 6+ years.
Yeah.
Building it, scrapping it, putting it together.
Yep.
Entrepreneurial journey. And we were positioned for our biggest year ever going into 2020. Staffed, retained relationships, massive projects, festivals, you name it, we were going to do it. So I was walking on water, to be honest. I was like, all right, we finally kind of arrived. We have incredible work to get after and look forward to. And then boom, pandemic, everything's upside down. Everything went out the window in a matter of moments. The moment we saw South by Southwest canceled, March Madness gone, writing was on the wall, we knew we were in real trouble. So it was 20-hour days, almost sleeping over in the office with my staff and figuring out how we were going to flex the struggle muscle, aka resiliency, and pivot to lead with branded content, strategy, video work, and pour culture and experience through virtual means and mediums, with not being able to gather. And we were always dangerous in that space. We've done apps, we've done websites, we've done video, but we never led with that work. We would throw the 5,000 person something, have a big band on stage, and then follow up with the highlight reel or the TikTok, whatever we were doing. Those were supportive accessory things. But COVID, now being able to step back and we're still standing, COVID flipped that complete yin yang, right? So we lead with branded content strategy. We went back to our client base and said, hey, we were going to do this. We have your trust. Let us lean into and pour our work into this space. Yeah. And they said, let's go. We can't not talk to our people. Like one client, for example, had 14,000 employees, and we were going to be doing music festivals for them all summer. Yeah. And they couldn't go dark on their 14,000 people. So we went inward and created microsites and apps and learning universities and push notifications and all this lovely storytelling about their people to create virtual community. And it worked. And it actually opened new doors into new opportunities with other clients once we had proofs of concept. So,
and I love that mindset, the mindset of what's the opportunity in this struggle, in this challenge that we're in right now. What's the opportunity here? How can we grow? How can we shift? I struggled with some of that in my own work, whether that's teaching or consulting, or I co-founded a leadership competition, and we had to shift on a dime, and it opened up some opportunities. It opened up some doors. Would you talk a little bit more about that? Like, I mean, as you reflect on it, obviously we wouldn't want to go through that again, but what doors did it open? I mean, it obviously this new line of business, leading with this line of business. Yeah. Can you think of any others?
Absolutely. And I'll go double click down even further. Because at the core of it, my huge realization in all of it, Scotty, was pressure, right? Pressure can crush people. It can also create a diamond. Yeah. So I think pressure is a really, really great thing, right? Yeah. And how are you going to manifest through that pressure? You can fold, right? Or you can absolutely pick yourself up off the mat. And that's where true innovation comes from. It's this Darwinian adapt or die. And that's what we were up against. So being a competitive person and also being a provider for my staff, agency of 20, 30 people, how could we provide for people? Because I didn't want to furlough. I didn't want to lay people off. There was this insane pressure. So I think work ethic, no matter how talented or non-talented you are, I think work ethic and time can solve a lot of things. And if you're committed to problem solving, if you understand pressure and are willing to push through that, COVID, I think historically will show us a lot of stuff. And I think my biggest takeaway is pressure is a good thing. Yeah. How can you meet the moment and let it all go and see what stays is another thing that I've been versing, speaking out loud a lot right now. Just let it all go, see what stays. And then you really know where you can focus your attention and work and evolve your company, your people.
Say more about that, Dave. Let it all go. Does that mean just like put a lot out there, try a lot, see what sticks, or say more about that?
I think there's a lot of layers of unnecessary stuff in our lives. And it made me realize what's essential, what's critical, where should I be focusing time and effort? And it made me overanalyze, OCD analyze what is going to help P&L, what's going to help really move the needle with the company or our work, and not anything that didn't help with a first down and forward progress. I didn't focus any time on it. I literally let it go. And it just helped me reprioritize everything in my life and our company's kind of vision. And from that came true work product that
Yeah.
was battle tested and tried and true, and then we could replicate and then scale it to other B2B clients or whatever it was. But yeah, I think there's a lot of ancillary layered crap in our lives. And if you really have self-awareness and practice self-awareness, what's working and what's not, and walk away from the things that are not working. That's what COVID, I think, has been a lovely mirror to hold up in front of us and be like, wow, let me assess.
Well, I was saying to a friend on the phone this morning, that whole experience brought us back to like the base, right? There were 5 of us in a house
Yep.
looking at each other.
Yep. What do we do here? We're in a cage.
That was it. It was
Yep.
like, okay, here we are,
Yep.
right? And from there, you can then create an incredible experience, a wonderful experience. I mean, obviously people are truly struggling, so I'm not diminishing that in any way, shape, or form. But that mindset of, okay, here we are. What do we do? How do we get through this? And how do we maybe learn, innovate, create, and go somewhere new?
Yep.
And I'm sure you loved some of the learning that actually occurred for you in that new work. Doubling down on some of those new strategies, I'm sure you learned a ton about yourself as a leader, but then also just even that content area, right?
100%. Back to some of our old professional experiences. I remember it stuck with me in the early 2000s. When I'm uncomfortable, I know I'm growing. I learned that on Staff Together with you.
Yeah.
And COVID absolutely amplified that. Like there was discomfort every day. But if you approach it from, okay, there are new problems to solve versus I'm defeated and I'm going to throw a pity party for myself, like how are you going to mentally prepare to challenge and pivot and go in a different direction? So I was motivated by that. And I agree with you, not to diminish people's struggle and challenges. It's intense out there, but I think there's real beauty in the discomfort. And if you can embrace it versus run away from it, go towards the pressure, that's where you're going to see breakthroughs.
Tell us a little bit about you. What did you learn about yourself as a leader in the last year? Are there any reflections that kind of stand out other than maybe what we've said? Is there anything else that stood out for you?
Gosh, yeah, I was very lonely. A lot of days I felt I was going into a fire and had a shield and kind of tip of the spear stuff, in a vulnerable state. Multiple times I'm in my office by myself, like waterworks, crying, just trying to literally keep myself together. How is this going to, the uncertainty, loneliness was a real thing.
Was it because you thrive off of being with others, right? You thrive off that energy. Was it that? Or was it the feeling of, sometimes we hear senior level executives and CEOs say, look, it's the work is lonely because the burden's on my shoulders, and I don't necessarily feel like I have anyone that I can speak with, that I can talk to, that's in my same position.
Yeah.
Was it a blend of those, or both of those, or one of those, or something totally else, right?
You nailed it on the head. I'm absolutely a social creature. I thrive off energy and people. I like my quiet time, but I absolutely, when I can be with people, that's my happy place. So yeah, COVID put us all in our corner. And it was like, how can we find light in those dark corners? Yeah. So I was never a FaceTime person. I was never a Skype person. Zoom for me has been amazing. I love it, and I thrive in that environment now. So productivity is way up, right? I think that was another silver lining with COVID, with the whether it's Google Hangouts or Zooms or whatever, screen connectivity, crazy, right? I mean, I've never had more meetings in a day when you're in Zoom jail in back to back to back to back to back to backs, right? So, but at the core,
I hadn't heard that term, right? Zoom jail.
Oh, Zoom jail, bro! I'm in it all the time, and I'm just looking for a $200 pass go, get me out chance card, right? Where's my community chest? But the humanity, right? Like, where can we find the humanity? So I probably 7-8 months into the height of the pandemic, I'd realized that with a couple of my business partners, we were crushing 17, 18-hour days, but I literally hadn't seen them in months, hadn't pressed the flesh with them, hadn't sat around a fire pit, hadn't socially distanced. And that was like crazy to me, right? Outside of my family, who I see in the house every day. Yeah. Even though I'm doing like a lot of workload, the humanity, that was real shocking and terrifying. It also helped It intensified the loneliness. So we're connected, but disconnected. Nothing you don't know already, but I learned about that. But I also learned to my focus has never been sharper. So COVID has helped me back to kind of the let it go, see what stays. It's like I wake up in the morning, I ask these questions of myself every day. Does it serve the team? Does it serve the business? Does it serve the community? And what can I personally do better to help in all of those things?
So that frames it up for you.
Yep.
Let's talk about TEDx. So again, I'd seen you, I think it was summer 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Family was out in Oregon, and we're about to head to Crater Lake. We were in Portland for a couple days, and it was going to be the largest TEDx in the world.
Yep.
And locked, ready to go. Talk about that shift, Dave.
Yeah. So we've been doing TEDxPortland for 12-ish years. We got the license back in 2009. We've been doing it at the Keller Auditorium, which is a 3,000 person, lovely performance facility here in town. Had it there 6 years. We moved to the Moda Center where the Blazers play basketball. They cut it in half. They call it Theater of the Clouds. 7,000 people, 7,500 once you factor in our staff and volunteers.
Yeah.
And it's going to be our 10-year anniversary. So we've been doing TEDxPortland for 12 years, but this will be the 10th event because it took 2 years to get the first year off the ground, if that makes sense. A lot of planning.
Yeah.
Anyway, largest TEDx indoor event in the world, from small little fiercely independent Portland. COVID hits. This town also protested for 100 straight days, which also resulted in rioting, shuttered businesses. This town has been really kicked in the stomach, but I'm proud of the work here of what we do.
Yeah.
TEDxPortland is a lightning bolt of joy and ideas and inspiration for this town. The city has embraced it from day one. And we thought TEDxPortland was a one and done thing way back in 2010, 2011. And there was never a goal to do an annual event and to scale it. And if you would have told me then that we'd be doing a 7,000 person Moda Center, globally live stream, million people thing, no way. So for those that don't know, you have Big TED. I call it Big TED, the mothership. They're in New York, but they have an annual week-long conference in Vancouver, British Columbia, my hometown. And that's the big leagues, right? It's 85 speakers. It's $10,000 to get in. You got to apply. You get a lottery ticket. Boom, boom, boom. TEDx came out in 2009. Essentially, it's a franchisee model. Yeah. We were one of the first cities to get the license, and here we are. I think we have so many amazing volunteers and people committed to this city and that event. We were never going to let it die on the vine. But hey, we've rescheduled it twice. It was supposed to happen on June 6, 2020. We then bumped it to May 29, 2021. It was supposed to happen last week. We weren't in a position to put 7,000 people in a building a week ago. No. So we've now bumped it to December 31st, New Year's Eve day. It's a Friday, and it's a 9 to 5 o'clock. It's a full day event, 15 speakers, 5 performances. And then we're going to do an after party, a big kick the doors down on 2022 and have a TEDster kind of New Year's Eve party. So
that'll probably be the first TEDster party, right? Is that
probably? I mean, and I love the staff in New York have been unconditionally supportive. A lot of TEDx's have dissolved, right? They just COVID's been a wrecking ball for the TEDx community because most TEDx's are in like libraries and high school gymnasiums. They're not in the basketball arena around the corner. I mean, so TEDxPortland is a unique unicorn in North America. I've used a freighter analogy, right? TEDxPortland is this massive freighter kind of listing out in the ocean. It's running on fumes, and we're just trying to bring it into port. Yeah, literally Portland. Like we're trying to bring it into the land of the port, the harbor. And I love it. I feel we're now back with a GPS system. Yeah, there's an adult in the White House. We have a plan. 70% of the country's vaccinated. So all signs are pointing to, we bought ourselves 7 months more of time. And, the Blazers had 10,000 people in the arena last night. So everything is looking positive to land the freighter in the winter. And we've never held a winter event. It's always been in the spring. But hey, again, we innovate, we figure it out, and we're going to make it work. And if you can be out here for it, it's the most educational and inspirational day of the year for us in this town. I believe I'm biased, obviously, but this town needs it. There are like 10 events that used to be on the calendar that people would circle. TEDxPortland is one of them. We have an obligation to this town to make sure the event happens so we can see joy. So we have something to look forward to, end of the day.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine, again, back to some of what the community has faced in recent months, I imagine there's a lot of learning and dots that can be connected and reflection that can occur that it's going to be powerful for many, many reasons, right? But you all pivoted and did something on television, didn't you?
We did. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. We couldn't go dark. So, what do we do in a year, 14 months time to keep our thousands of people that are connected to the brand, the experience, the event, whether it's social or the email they get or the community planning we've always done? Because TEDxPortland is not just the one event, the Super Bowl event thing we do every year.
Yeah.
We do high school programming. We do a 6K run around the city. We do salons, which are 300 person kind of more intimate experiences. But we have a lovely relationship with the NBC affiliate here called KGW, Channel
Okay.
8. The leadership there is tremendous. And they approached us and said, hey, what if we gave you an hour of primetime TV and you created a broadcast special, a TEDxPortland broadcast special for us? And this was right in the height of social justice, BLM, George Floyd, 10,000 people marching over this bridge. I'm looking out my window here on the Burnside Bridge, 10,000 people going over the bridge.
Yeah.
Again, 100 nights of protests here, national news. And we put together a vignette, an hour-long broadcast special dedicated to that. And it's on TEDxPortland.com. If you have the time, go check it out.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, please do. And we'd never done anything like that before. And it was an intense journey. So that episode, for context, if people don't understand TV, because I'd never done a broadcast special before. It took 32 pieces of unique content that was stitched together to create for it to look and feel like TV. TV feels different than podcasts, all the things, right? It's faster, it moves, it's got to be peppy, you change pace, there's palate cleansers, all the things. So it was a real steep learning curve for us, but KGW held our hand. They coached us. We had the filmmakers, the videographers, the content, all the alumni, all the speakers. So we had the bench, but stretching into this new medium was lovely, and it worked out so well. The viewership was insane. That one was called History and Hope, and then we did Kindness and Community. We did a second installment. So we actually did two KGW episodes.
TEDx branded, TEDxPortland branded.
Yeah. Primetime TV, and
I love
thousands of eyeballs on them. And then it was also a case study for the bigger TEDx global community. Like, how do you go to market, right? Because we all had Zoom fatigue and we're on the screens all day. So how do you actually engage and keep people's attention, right? To captivation, right? I mean, how are you literally keeping eyeballs on screens so they're not multitasking? And so TV does that because we produced it, handed over the drive, and then it was lovely. A week later, we sat down with my family with popcorn and watched this special on TV like it was a movie.
Yeah.
And so it was
Who did that?
Right? So, and I'm used to going 100 miles an hour, live, things go wrong, right? Theater, like live performance, right?
Yeah, so you're just sitting at home.
Yeah. So it was really weird to hand over the drive of the hour-long piece and then just kind of like, okay, we're just going to relax and watch this thing. But you can make a case that it had the same reach as the live event, but I know it didn't have the feel because when you're in the seat, you feel the juice. But hey, for a stopgap to do something for the community in between, it's been a saving grace. And we're going to do a third episode probably in the fall, just because I think good things come in 3. And so that'll be a nice bridge to the live event in December with KGW again. So
what an awesome opportunity to celebrate in December, and what a gift to the community to, again, I love the mindset of let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Here we are. Let's go. Right?
Yeah. I wish you could see what I'm looking at, brother. We're in this fun office space and I have pennants all over in the rafters of my office because there's a really cool pennant company out of Buffalo, New York that I randomly stumbled on. And one of the pennants is figure it out. So I look at figure it out every day. I look at let it go. I look at worry will trap you. I look right above me is give a damn. I mean, I just need those kind of motivational quips and quotes to like keep me trucking. So
I love it.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
Dave, what I would love to do as we kind of begin to wind down our time together, what are some things that you have enjoyed in the last year? Maybe some things you've read, some things you've been watching or streaming or listening to. What are some sources of light for you other than the penance?
Hey,
Which
um,
I love. I absolutely love that.
yeah, podcasts for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought they had kind of come and gone and had their moment, but
Yeah.
through COVID, I feel like everybody and their neighbor has a podcast now. I think
Yes, you
right,
are on one of
but
those.
you're doing great work. Like I'm happy and proud to be in this conversation with you.
But you know what? Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, it was like March 2019 or March
Yeah,
2020, and I was like, I need something to do because
yeah,
I'm feeling a little anxious,
yeah,
and so I'm like, well, I want to start this,
yeah,
and then I started the second one, and so it's been fun. I've loved it.
yeah. No, I no truly, and it just comes down to engagement. How
Yep.
can we be lifelong learners and grow? And podcasts are lovely. I took up a masterclass subscription. I devour those. They're very TED like, but they're more prescriptive, and
Hmm.
that's a lovely platform. Voraciously reading. I've got 5 or 6 books on the bedside table. I don't finish a lot of books, but I pick them up and read, and whatever inspires me. I'm reading this book called The 48 Laws of Power. Fascinating. McConaughey's Greenlight's book's amazing. I've been
Oh,
reading a
nice.
lot of books on feminism.
Hmm.
I've been reading a lot of books on DEI. I signed up for more school. I went back to school and I'm halfway through an eCornell DEI program
Nice.
that I'll finish up probably early 22. So I was truly inspired by all of the social unrest here in this town and around the world
Yeah.
after George Floyd. And so I knew I could be a better ally, a better advocate. So I've actually focused a lot of my time and attention when it's not gobbled up with the kids and the new puppy to grow in that space.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for the great work that you do. I love how you framed who you are and what you do at the beginning. I'm going to hold that out as a quote in the show notes. And bringing joy to people through those experiences, it cannot be underestimated. And like I said to you before we started, I imagine just like doggy hotels, I think are going to be a good business to be in. Helping people gather and build new memories is going to be a great business to be in as well, because there's going to be a lot of people who are very, very excited about gathering, getting together, and you as a host of that, I can think of no one better, no one
Thank you.
better
I'm
than
blushing.
Dave Ray.
I'm blushing. Yeah, it's a thing. The Roaring 22s is a thing.
Huh.
Spring, summer, fall 22, I think, is going to be amazing. Remarkable times globally, from revenge trips to what are we doing to gather? I think we've got a lot of time to make up for.
Well, Dave, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. You do incredible work. You are doing the work, and I absolutely have incredible respect for that. And so thank you, sir. Thanks for being with us.
I just wanted to say thank you, Scott, because I've always appreciated my first round of grad school was inspired by you. And you've always been a mentor and a friend and a master communicator in the space. So whether it's podcasts or your articles, your books, you're always out in front. And so thank you for having me, because it's great to reconnect on this level.
So much fun. Take care. Be well, sir.
Yeah. Love you. Bye-bye.
2 reflections. The first, figure it out, the title of this episode, which I absolutely love because it's a mindset. And David's story of these 2 different organizations, 503 and TEDxPortland, they had to figure it out, and they're doing it. They're doing the work, and it's just an incredible story. Can't thank you enough, David, for spending time with us. The second is self-awareness. David, probably more than anyone I've ever experienced, described himself in such a beautiful, authentic way. David said, I'm a creative at heart. I love art, and I love experience, and I love storytelling. A drug for me is creating experiences, indelible moments for people to enjoy, for people to collect moments and not things. So I've always had a passion for putting people in the room and creating an arena or a vessel where they can connect and truly get to the core of meaningful relationships. That's the juice for me. It's just a beautiful quote. It is. And it's an individual who knows himself well. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. It's a wonderful, wonderful story. And again, that practical wisdom, figure it out. Practical wisdom, know thyself. Be well, everyone. Take care. You, my friend, have just finished another episode of Phronesis, Practical Wisdom for Leaders. To get in touch with me, visit www.scottjallen.net or send me a note at scott@scottjallen.net. I can also be found on Twitter and on LinkedIn. Now, if you have feedback, I would love to hear it. And as always, thank you so much for listening to Phronesis. If you like Phronesis, I have a second podcast. It's called the Captovation Podcast. That's with an O, Captovation Podcast, where I speak with experts on the topic of designing and delivering incredible presentations. And now, Kate's twin sister, Emily, with the outro.
You've been listening to Phronesis, Practical Wisdom with Scott Allen.